Hey guys, welcome back to PAC Talk with me, your host, Piet Vodden. Special hello to all our PHAROS family. Good to be back with you guys. Today, I wanted to talk to you about 10 biggest mistakes I see in the gym. So the 10 biggest mistakes I see in the gym. Now, I started this list. I could have gone on and on and on and on forever, but I cut it down to 10. And hopefully some of these might be helpful to you. Some of them are just kind of funny, but some of them I think you might notice some of it in yourself that might require a little change that you can put to good use. So yeah, we'll go through them one by one and think about it. Think about, do I do this? Do I not do this? Is this a little bit of me? You might surprise yourself. Okay, so number one. I'm starting off with endless cardio and calorie restriction. I call this cardio bunny syndrome. It's kind of the thing where you want to lose body fat, and you've been told your whole life that you need to eat less and do more cardio. And what happens is you restrict so much and put that constant kind of catabolic demand on your body that you end up kind of in a hole, because you can't just keep reducing and expect to lose body fat. At a certain point, your body is going to start holding on to the fat. Your metabolism is going to down regulate, and it's going to be really, really hard to stay active and stay energetic, and B, continue to get results. So remember, the goal of the gym is always to get your metabolism as high as you can. The goal is to eat as many calories as you possibly can without gaining body fat, and to be as active and as energetic as possible. It is not a case of just blasting yourself into exhaustion and ultimately just complete fatigue by, like I said, completely calorically restricting yourself and doing endless hours on the treadmill or on the Stairmaster, or whatever it may be. It's really important, guys, and I see it time and time again. A lot of people do get themselves in that hole that's really hard to get out of. You've probably heard of the term skinny fat. That happens a lot with this kind of thing, where you're just doing way too much cardio and not enough strength training. And it can be hard to get out of once you're in it, because you're just going to put yourself, like I said, in that hole, and then you have to kind of dig yourself out of the hole gradually. So don't go into your training with that kind of mindset. You have to go in with the mindset of, I'm here to build and not to just break down. Yes, we want to lose body fat. 100% agree. Yes, we want to improve body composition. Yes, we need cardio. I'm not saying we're not going to do cardio. We need all of these things, but it has to be done in balance, in moderation, and with a sense of knowledge. Like, what are we actually trying to do here? This is why at PHAROS Athletic Club we use that in body. We check people's metabolism when they first come in. We want to know what that BMR is, that base metabolic rate. We want to know how many calories you guys are burning on a daily basis without doing any activity. And then once we calculate that activity in, we can take a more of a scientific approach to how many calories you should be consuming on a regular day in relation to the kind of activity you are doing and how active you are on a daily basis. So be smart with it. Don't just think eat less, do more, eat less, do more, eat less, do more. It does not work long term. Again, you might see results in the beginning. You might start off thinking, this is great, I'm on a roll here. But I guarantee you will bottom out, and you will stop getting results. You'll get super frustrated, super fatigued, super tired, and you will hate your life. So don't go down that road. That said, and this brings me to number two, there is a flip side to this coin. And that is, the other side is, people just think they need strength training and don't need to do any cardio and don't need to worry about food, because it always becomes like the eternal bulk, right? I'm just getting stronger. I'm just building muscle. And then before you know it, your percentage of body fat has shot up because you're just not thinking about food. You're not thinking about cardiovascular work. You're just thinking about getting stronger. Now, if your goal is to be a strength athlete, if you're competing in powerlifting, that may be something that makes sense to you. And maybe you are just trying to get as strong as you can possibly get and not worrying about the body fat composition. But that's the minority of us, right? Most of us are trying to improve our body composition. We want to get stronger. We want to gain lean muscle tissue because that's how we improve metabolism. But we cannot neglect calories. We cannot neglect the quality of our foods. And we cannot neglect cardiovascular work, because at some point it's going to be necessary and it will make a difference. Plus, it's going to make you feel great. It's going to release those endorphins. It's going to make you feel energized, and you will get a kick out of it. So two different sides of the same coin. You can't do too much cardio and too much caloric restriction, but the other side is you can't not do any cardio and have too many calories and too much food, because the opposite thing will happen. And again, you're going to end up frustrated and wondering why you don't look better than you feel like you should. So bear those two first points in mind. Some of us are falling on one side or the other, probably. Number 3, confusing sweating with working out. Now, this is extremely common, and I think it's extremely common, and it's often not the fault of the individual, it's the fault of the industry, which has created this kind of dynamic of get people in the gym, make them sweat as much as possible for 45 minutes, and so that they leave thinking, wow, I had a great workout. Most of the time, you just got hot, you got uncomfortable, and you perspired, because yes, your heart rate was elevated, and you were working relatively hard, supposedly, probably, but you cannot equate quality working out long term with just how much you sweat, because by that theory, you could just do anything that made you sweat for X amount of time and expect to see, results at the end of the day. All you're going to do is rehydrate and, get back that water weight right after. So don't think just because you sweat, it was a good workout. And vice versa, don't think just because you didn't sweat that much that it wasn't a great workout. If you've ever done more of we all sweat at different amounts, but you may have done a really good like bodybuilding style strength training workout where you didn't actually sweat that much. Or maybe you did more of a kind of like structural functional workout that was very beneficial to your building that healthy lean muscle tissue and improving mobility, whatever it was. Then you didn't sweat that much. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But I think there's this condition right now where people think as long as I sweat, as long as there's sweat dripping off me, that I'm getting results. And chances are you're not. You may be, but you have to dig a little deeper. You have to think about the quality of your work. What are you actually trying to achieve in that session? Did you perform the movements well? Did you understand the exercises? Did you understand what you were trying to do? Did you achieve the goal that you set out to achieve? Make it mean more. It should mean more than just sweating. Now, don't get me wrong. Every now and again, let's say we're doing some kind of a chipper workout and it's just like 35, 40 minutes of just working. We're sweating buckets. We're doing a ton of work. We've got that kind of mentality of like, I'm just going to dig. I love that kind of a workout, and I guarantee I'll be sweating in that workout. So it's not that you won't sweat. Sweating is a byproduct of the results you're chasing and not the goal. It's not my goal to sweat. It's my goal to get this stuff done in a really smart way, using, like I said, good movements, full range of motion, understanding the meaning behind each movement, all that kind of stuff, and let the sweat be the byproduct of that rather than the thing you are chasing. If you have a relatively high resting heart rate and you start doing any activity, chances are you're going to start sweating. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing a lot of quality work and that you're super fit. It just means that you're hot and you're sweating. So don't confuse that two things. Don't confuse getting results with sweating. They're two different things. One is a byproduct of the other. Chase results and not the desire to just sweat. Number 4, overestimating the calories you burn and underestimating the calories you can afford to consume. This happens all the time. We can go into the gym, we can work out super, super hard, walk away burning 500, 600 calories and think, yeah, I nailed it today. I can afford to go and treat myself. Let me tell you, consuming 500 to 600 calories is so easy. And this is why people really struggle in the gym to get results often, because, they think they worked really hard. They think they can then go and eat whatever they want and that they deserve it because pat on the back, I worked so hard, I deserve this treat. Chances are you are going to throw away everything that you just did. We are all about fueling performance. Yes, we need to fuel our performance. We're not about starving ourselves. That said, at the end of the day, if you are trying to lose body fat, if you are trying to improve your body composition, you are going to have to pay attention to calories. If you're trying to lose fat, ultimately, you're going to have to be in a caloric deficit of some sort once you've gotten your metabolism to where it should be. So again, you have to understand the caloric value of food. This is why in the Limitless Challenge, we encourage people to track so that they gain that knowledge and really have a better understanding of the caloric value of food. And you will be surprised how many calories are just in things that you might think are healthy, things that on the label say low fat, things that on the label say organic, whatever it may be. It's all a ruse. Chances are you are consuming far more calories than you think you are, and you are getting frustrated because you are working hard. You're going to the gym every day, but you're not seeing the benefits that you want. You're not seeing the results that you want because you are purely just consuming too many calories. So understand the caloric value of food. Don't overestimate how many calories you can get in a workout. The maximum you'll ever do, and I've tested this before, 12 rounds of sparring, hard sparring and boxing, and I mean like hard, maybe 900 calories. If you every round was like an intense round, that's probably the most you'll ever get done in that hour time frame. Usually, you're in that kind of like 400, 500 calorie range if you're working super hard. Usually, actually less than that. So understand that and adjust accordingly. Again, we're not here to starve ourselves. I'm not saying you should restrict, but we have to be smart about this. We have to take more of a scientific approach to this. Okay, next one. Thinking about the weight rather than the form, the tension, and the range of motion. This is a classic, of course. And I've had many clients over the years, and I've been guilty of this myself. So also often we chase the number rather than chasing, the quality of the movement. Let's say we're on squats. If I perform, 5 squats at 325 pounds, but the form was miserable. The tension was in the wrong place. I was just dumping everything into my back. It looked miserable. It was painful to watch. Or if I did 5 quality reps at 275, where everything was in the right place, tension was in the right place, it looked great. Like, which is the more beneficial? The 275, right? So often we get caught up in the number. We're chasing that number. We want to feel strong. We want to feel that we're making progress. We want to impress our coaches. We want to impress our peers. We want to impress ourselves. So we end up, making that sacrifice for the sake of the number. Now, numbers are good. Numbers are useful. We do want to make progress, and we do want to gauge it, and we do want to track. But what I'm saying is, you want to ensure that those goals are being met with the right form, the right range of motion, and that mind-muscle connection, and understanding where the tension should be, so that you're not causing yourself injury and you are making progress. Especially when we're talking about more of a healthy lifestyle. Again, there's the argument for, like, if I'm a power lifter and numbers are the main goal, then I'm gonna take certain gambles. I'm gonna take certain risks. It might not look as pretty. I mean, it probably will, because most powerlifters are very complicit in what they're doing. But for most of us that, again, are trying to get stronger, trying to build that lean muscle tissue, trying to improve body composition, we should really be thinking about the tension in the muscle, that mind-muscle connection. What am I trying to engage in this movement? Understanding what muscles you're trying to activate, understand bracing, understand range of motion, and not just going up in weight for the sake of going up in weight. There's so many times I've seen, if it's prescribed as a back squat, people doing quarter back squats, when many times it would be more beneficial for that person to maybe do a goblet squat or even an air squat, because it's better to do air squats or goblet squats with really good full range of motion than to do quarter squats with a barbell, just because it says on the piece of paper that you should be doing a barbell squat. So always remember, the quality of for most of us, the quality of movement and the range of motion is going to be more important than the load. So be smart, be calculated, and make the right choice when it comes to loading your weights and weight selection. Okay, number 6 is choosing the wrong method for the results you want. And there's this old quote that I like. It doesn't matter how hard you are rowing if you are rowing in the wrong direction. I think sometimes we just think working out is working out. And we have to remember that everything you do has a prescribed result, right? We have to make sure that, if I'm trying to improve my running ability, then I'm actually, doing some running and doing strength training that contributes towards that goal. If I'm trying to gain 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months, I have to make sure that the work I do is toward that goal. If I'm trying to, on the opposite side, lose 20 pounds of fat in the next 6 months, then my workouts are going to be different, right? I have to tailor the workout. I have to tailor my nutrition. I have to tailor everything to the desired goal. Working out is just not working out. You're not just blindly like just doing stuff. You're actually working towards a desired goal. And the work that you do is very specific. We train in a specific way to get a specific result. In our gym, I use the example, like if you want to get better at CrossFit, at a certain point, you're going to have to do CrossFit. You can't just do, you can't just do like build, or you can't just do certain things in the gym that don't contribute towards that goal. That said, if your goal is to, go on a more bodybuilding track for the next kind of 6 months, if you want to just focus on building lean muscle tissue and you're not so worried about performance, then maybe CrossFit isn't the way to go. Maybe build and bodybuilding accessories are a better choice for you. It all depends on what you want at the end of the day. And you have to make those choices, and you have to seek the advice that's going to help you progress towards that goal. If I don't care about any of that stuff, if I just want to get strong as hell, then I'm going to focus on strength movements. I'm going to focus on squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing, and improving those movements, because energy is a finite resource, right? We don't have endless energy to just do everything. So we have to focus our energy on the things that we really care about. What's important to me right now? And that should be where your energy goes. Too many times we get pulled in all kinds of different directions, trying to do everything all the time, and just not making great progress in any great direction because we're just trying to accomplish too much. So kind of decide what your goal is, decide what you want to focus on for the next 6 months to a year, and go down that road. And don't get pulled in different directions by what people say or what people read or whatever it is. Now, of course, you can mix things up. I'm not saying you can only do one thing, but just understand that energy is a finite resource. And I'm going to put most of my energy on my immediate goal and the things that I want most right now. You can still have a little fun along the way, trust me. But you're going to have to focus. You're going to have to understand what does what action leads to what outcome, and make sure that those actions are the ones that you're most involved in on a daily basis. Okay, number 7. Not recognizing your problem is mechanics. Not recognizing your problem is mechanics and not strength. This is a classic, and most dudes, most guys are guilty of this, me included. I'll use squatting as an example because it is kind of the most apparent with the squat. At a certain point, mechanics is going to dictate everything. If I don't have good mechanics, it's going to be really, really hard for me to build up to a good squat because, again, I'm just going to dump all that stress in the wrong area. I should have a better back squat than I do. The reason I don't is not a strength issue. I mean, it is because I'm weak as shit, but it's really a mobility issue. My squat isn't terrible. My squat mechanics aren't terrible, but they could be better if I was more flexible in certain areas. And my wife will tell you this all day long. So really, I should be paying more attention to mobility, especially with me. It's like the external rotation of my hips. I should be paying more attention to that and less attention to just lifting heavy, trying to get stronger, lifting heavy. Now, of course, if I want to get stronger, I am going to have to lift heavy, but I need to put that load on good mechanics. If you continue to load bad mechanics, chances are, A, you're not going to get any stronger, and B, you're going to end up injured. So you have to be smart with it. This is why we have repair at the gym. This is why we put an emphasis on mechanics. We have that trifecta of mechanics, strength, and conditioning at PHAROS Athletic Club. Those are the 3 things that we truly believe are very, very important to long-term results. And often mechanics just gets neglected because, it's the thing that's the least fun for most of us. It doesn't get us any great applause, and it doesn't make us feel incredible or whatever it is. It doesn't release a major amount of endorphins. But what it does do is it gets us better, keeps us safe, and will guarantee progress long term. So most of us need to pay more attention to mechanics if we want to improve our numbers and if we want to get stronger. Number 8, doing the same thing over and over with no variation, and never doing the same thing progressively, too much variation. This is a really important one. And it's especially important in the industry right now. And I'll tell you why. There's this, the term muscle confusion probably came around. I mean, Arnold used it in the 70s, but he was using it in a completely different way. He was talking about, shocking the muscle by doing a different kind of set or a different kind of movement or, slight variations on something. But he was still doing all the primary lifts on a regular basis. What happens now is people just throw shit at the wall. They're like, as long as you just get people in moving, doing different things every day, confuse the muscle, confuse the body, that's the way to get results. That's the way to shock the body. And it's total garbage. What you really need, you do need variation, but what you really need is consistency of movement and measured progress. So I need to be doing the same movements consistently. I need to be getting that progressive overload in my primary lifts. I need to understand and appreciate, what my numbers are, and know that I'm getting stronger in those movements. This is why, and I'm biased, of course, but this is why in a program like Build, you will see the same lifts over and over and over again. And some workouts will feel very similar over a long time period. You're going to get the variation in the finishes. You're going to get the variation in the warm-ups and in the accessories. But fundamentally, you're always going to do those primary lifts, and you're going to have measured results, right? You're going to know that you're getting stronger. That is how we make progress, and that is how we improve our metabolism long term. If you just keep doing a bunch of stuff all the time that makes no real sense, again, you're just chasing the sweat and you're just running around like a headless chicken, you're going to bottom out real quick. You're just doing shoddy circuit training. It'll work for maybe 3 months, and then you're going to have nowhere to go because you haven't made any progress. You've just been, like I said, running around like a headless chicken. So don't chase that. Don't chase, I'm just going to do different stuff every day because I think it's fun and I don't care, because you will be the person that ends up frustrated in 3 months' time, and you'll be asking yourself, where do I go from here? So better to be structured, better to be measured. Yes, it should be fun. Yes, you should have variation in there. The flip side of this is, if you never have variation, you will always just plateau. You can't just do 5 by 5 eternally. You're going to have some variation in your protocols. We're going to have to vary the sets, the reps, the tempo, the rest periods. We're going to have to, add those different finishes in. We're going to have to keep it exciting. We're going to have to add new challenges in there. But don't forget the basic fundamentals, the fundamental movements, those classic movements. You're going to come back to those again and again and again. You cannot get away from them because they are the fundamental human movements. They are those global movement patterns that we all have, and we all need to improve upon if we want to get stronger. So again, you can't not have any variation, but you can't have too much variation, and the sweet spot is in the middle. And again, if you're coming to PHAROS, you're going to get it anyway. If you're going to any other gym, you have to ask yourself, okay, what are my constants? What am I improving in? Or am I just running around in circles? And like I said, I've seen it so much in the past kind of 10 years, especially with the advent of these kind of like boutique studios that are just doing like these kind of like sweaty circuit stuff all the time. And it's just senseless, and it just bottoms out. So just be wary of that. Be careful with it. Okay. Number 9, believing in a magical diet rather than the numbers. People make money off diets. People write books and make money off diets. People have websites. People have Instagram. People are always trying to make money off diets because it's the thing that everyone struggles with, the thing that everyone wants a magical solution. They want to just follow like this simple thing that gets them the results. So, there are so many different diets out there. At the end of the day, it will always come back to the numbers. Whatever it is in any of these diets, there's always some kind of restriction that is bringing your overall caloric intake down. Now, some of them are very useful, and let's use intermittent fasting as an example. It's not magic. It's not a magical diet. It just means that when you have that finite window, you're going to be consuming less calories. Basically, there are other benefits to it, of course. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the numbers. It is a numbers game. Now, does the quality of food matter? Yes, it does. I believe. I think, our body metabolizes certain things better than others. I don't think we should be eating a lot of processed foods. I don't think we should be eating a lot of chemicals. I think we should be eating natural sources as much as possible. But whether or not you gain or lose body fat, at the end of the day, will come down to the numbers game. It will come down to either caloric restriction or a positive caloric balance if we're trying to gain muscle. And you can't get away from that. You can't cheat that. That's always what it comes down to at the end of the day. So when you go into these things, you read these things, know that it's not magic. It's not, no one discovered something incredible and something new. They didn't unearth the Holy Grail and come up with the magic diet solution. It's always a numbers game. And whatever the diet is, it's always coming up with some kind of like caloric restriction or finding some way for you to eat less. Because like I said before, most of us are over consuming calories without knowing it, because the caloric value of most things in modern foods is way higher than we expect them to be, because usually they're just adding stuff in there. And just the value of, even with good foods, even with good healthy foods, if it has a lot of good healthy fats, stuff like that in there, as you know, fat is 9 calories a gram. The numbers build up. So you have to pay attention to the numbers rather than believing in the magic or the ideology of a diet. You can have whatever belief system you want, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to numbers when it comes to gaining or losing body fat. Number 10, not getting blood work done, not understanding what's happening with your body, having no metrics, and getting frustrated. Again, this is a really important one, especially as we get older. We have to know what's going on with our bodies. And the way to do that really is to check with your doctor, get a blood test done, get a full panel blood test done, understand your hormones, know where your hormones are at. The classic example for guys is, know where your testosterone is. You have to pay attention to this stuff after a while. A lot of guys I've seen over the years get very, very frustrated. They're training hard. They think they're eating right. They're just not getting the results. So many times it's like it's cortisol levels are too high, testosterone is too low. There's all these different things hormonally that can be going with your body that makes a difference to the results you get. It's very simple to do these days, and relatively inexpensive and well worth it. This is your health we're talking about. So you have to know that stuff. At a certain point, that stuff, I think once I got into my 30s, particularly my late 30s and definitely my 40s, that stuff starts to really matter. So if you're finding you're not getting the results you want, you think you're doing everything right, if you feel exhausted, if you feel tired, if you feel unmotivated constantly, then please get your blood work done. Know where your levels are at, know what's happening with your hormones, and adjust after that, make the changes from there. There'll be stuff in there that will force you to make changes, or maybe there's a supplement you need to take, or maybe there's some foods that you need to add in, or some foods that you need to take away that are affecting you, or maybe you need to get more sleep, or maybe you need to pay attention to stress, or whatever it is. Your blood panel will tell you a lot of information that's going to be very beneficial to you in getting the results that you want to get. And longevity, staying healthy, that's more important than anything to most of us now, right? We want to live long, healthy lives. We want to stay energetic for our kids, for our spouses, for our friends. We want to live long, healthy lives. So get your blood work done, check in with your doctor, and make sure everything looks good. Overtraining, number 11. I lied. I did 12, not 10. Overtraining and undertraining. Two classic groups of people. People that are undertraining. Now, undertraining is a hard one because, we all live busy lives. We all can struggle to fit things in from time to time. But, you are going to get super frustrated with yourself if, you're only making it into the gym twice a week. And it's like, well, why am I not getting results? Because I'm going to the gym and I took out a gym membership. And I feel like I should be making progress. It's like gym memberships don't mean anything if you're not going. Usually I would say that the bare minimum for physical activity is going to the gym 3 times a week. And even then, that doesn't really mean anything unless you're working hard and if you're following a good program and all that kind of stuff. So you have to build up that adherence to the gym. You have to be motivated, not motivated, but you have to be disciplined. You have to have the discipline to be regular with your physical activity. Dipping in, doing one personal training session every 2 weeks is going to do very little for you. You have to be consistent. For most of us, it's a daily pursuit. It's just part of your life. It's part of your daily activity. You have to be active. You have to be physical. You have to get in the gym. And if you're not in the gym, you want to be outside doing stuff. We are not made to be sedentary creatures. Sitting down all day is doing us no good. We have to get up. We have to get out. We have to be physical. We have to do physical activity. We have to use our muscles. We have to push our muscles. We have to get ourselves out of breath. We have to do all these things if we want to keep functioning as a human being. Otherwise, we become something else. So yeah, you have to be consistent, and it has to be a regular thing. You can't just dip in, dip out, dip in, dip out, because you will get super frustrated. People ask me all the time, how long is it going to get for me to, how long will it get for me, will it be for me to get results? And I'll say, if you work hard at this for a year, you're going to see some great progress. Then they'll come like once every 2 weeks. And it's like, yeah, when I say a year, that means a year of consistent hard work. It's not a year of dipping in and dipping out, coming to the gym once every couple of weeks. Like, well, I've been doing this for a year. I had a membership for a year and I didn't get the result. It's like, okay, let's be realistic here. Let's be accountable here. You have to take it upon yourself to be consistent, be regular, and work hard. Like, no one's going to do it for you. There's no way around that. That is the thing you have to do, is be consistent and work hard. Now, overtraining is the flip side of that. And again, I'm guilty of this. I know a lot of my friends are. We're the other way, right? We find it hard to switch that desire to train off. And often that can lead to too much training. So, usually, you should be taking a rest day a week. I find these days, I'm 46, I usually have to take a rest day a week. And I'll probably have, some workouts that are less intense than others. Like, I've talked about this before, but I can't do CrossFit every day anymore. It burns me out and leaves me feeling miserable. So I'll vary my workouts. Like, some days I'll do build with accessories. Some days I'll do CrossFit if I feel good. Some days I'll just go for a run. We have to be very mindful of our energy levels, of our mental state, of how rested we feel, how stressed we are. If we're already super stressed, doing a super stressful high intensity workout is probably not a good idea. We're just raising cortisol. We have to be mindful of where we are in our lives right now. Like, how is the day looking? How am I feeling? And work out according to that. Now, that doesn't give you the excuse to just not work out. It's like, some people just get into the thing of like, oh, I always feel tired, so I didn't work out. It's like, that's just you being lazy. You have to be honest with yourself. And again, you usually fall on one side of the coin or the other. But if you are someone that overtrains and just loves to just drive yourself into the ground, just take a minute to think, okay, is this the best thing for me today? Or would it be better off doing a different kind of a workout, or even taking a rest day? It is important. You are more likely to get injured. You are more likely to gain body fat. You're certainly less likely to lose body fat if your cortisol levels are too high and you're too stressed and you just burn out. So be measured, be smart, be calculated, and always move forward rather than just driving yourself into the ground. So overtraining versus undertraining, which side of it do you fall, and change your either attitude or action according to that understanding. Last one, guys. Thinking the problem isn't you, blaming everything and everyone else. We've all seen this over the years. Sometimes it's hard to be accountable. Sometimes it's hard to say, you know what, this is me. I'm not really putting the work in. You want to blame the programmer, you want to blame the coach, you want to blame the gym, you want to blame your spouse, you want to blame your kids, you want to blame everything but yourself, because you're just super frustrated and you don't want to accept that it's really just you. At the end of the day, like, what we put in our mouths is all down to us. Whether we pursue physical activity is down to us. Now, like I said, sometimes that's hard. Like, shit gets in the way. Like today, for example, my kid's sick. Emily's in LA. I'm struggling for time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the gym today. If I can't get to the gym, I'm going to be super frustrated, but that's just the reality of the situation. That's not me being lazy. That's just the reality of the day that I find myself in today. That's a different thing. But, like I said, being consistent and having the right attitude when it comes to training, when it comes to nutrition, and being accountable for ourselves and making it your purpose, making it a point to be like, I'm going to do this, and fulfilling the promises that you make to yourself are super important. So many times we cut ourselves too much slack. Especially in modern society, we take pity on ourselves. We're very kind of like, woe is me, kind of like, oh, it's so hard for me. Well, you know what? It's hard for everybody. So many times I've heard, I don't have the time. And it's people that are like, really, you don't have the time? Trust me. I know people that are way busier than you that find the time. And it's something that you see time and time again. People just will not accept that it's their own laziness. They will not um, accept responsibility for their own actions or lack of actions. So be honest with yourself. Say to yourself, is this really and truly a factor that I can't control, or is this something that deep down is just my own laziness or my own bad attitude or my own just desire to blame something else, anything else, to get me out of this kind of mindset that I'm in? So yeah, be honest, be truthful. It makes a difference. Okay, guys, that's 12 things, 12 of the biggest mistakes that I see in the gym. Maybe you'll see some of those in yourself and you can make some corrections. Maybe you're perfect and you don't see any yourself in any of those. Good for you. But I think most of us can see a little bit of ourselves in some of those things, and can probably make some positive changes to help us make the progress that we want. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. As always, please like, please share. It's super helpful. And come see us. Echo Park, PHAROS Athletic Club, Echo Park on the east side of Los Angeles. PHAROS Athletic Club in Redondo Beach in the South Bay. PHAROS Idlewild up in the mountains in Idlewild. My little home gym up here. And then coming soon to you guys, PHAROS Athletic Club, Palm Springs. We're trying to get it open by September, October. But as soon as we have any information on that, we'll let you guys know. But it's going to be an amazing gym. So please come and check it out. All right, guys, until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the gym.